Hello everyone and welcome back to another edition of Can You Hack It? I am your host, Ben, and this week we are going to be on Hackthebox.eu again, this time looking at a system called Poison. It's a FreeBSD machine. The average rating's about a medium level of difficulty. I felt this was one of the easier boxes, so this video is probably going to go fairly quick, and so if we have some time at the end, I may dig into some of the stuff that we come across a little bit more. So let's go ahead and get started. We've got our IP address there, 10.10.10.84. So if we create a directory to work out of, so if we do mkdir-p, because we're going to make a second directory inside of there also, we'll call this Poison, and then we'll make a directory called Nmap inside of there. We switch into our Poison directory, and then we'll do Nmap-t5 to make the timing aggressive, sc and sv to enumerate scripts and versions, and then v to get verbose output while we're running, oa to output all formats, and we'll write that to Nmap, and then quick is the prefix. And then finally our IP address of 10.10.10.84. And it looks like it didn't find the host up, so if we try and ping, looks like for some reason we're not connected. We'll disconnect and reconnect. Try and ping again, we look good now. So we'll run Nmap again. So it looks like we've got port 80 and port 22 open. So if we, let's see, while we're before we manually browse, let's just get a gofuzz session running. So we'll use word list, user share, word list, dirbuster, directory 2.3 medium, and we'll hide response codes of 404. We'll show full responses. We'll recurse, and we'll do extensions of PHP and TXT, and that should be good enough, I believe. So if we do the URL, http 10.10.10.84/fuzz, and get that going. And so now if we go to that web server manually, 10.10.10.84, we come across the temporary website, testlocal.php scripts, and it's got a list of scripts to be tested. So if we take a look at those, looks like it's pulling the values from the ini.php file. So if that's correct, if we look at PHP info, it should run, so it runs the PHP info page. There's one here, list files, files.php. So list files looks like it's listing files that are in the current directory. The only thing we notice it wasn't listed previously is this pwd backup.txt. So if we take that, and let's try replacing file with that. And so we get a this password is secure, it's encoded at least 13 times. What could go wrong really? And then a long string that looks like it's base 64 encoded, because we can see the padding here at the end. So if we just take this, copy it, and we'll stick it away for right now. Open a new tab, vim pwd backup.txt. So if we paste that in there, save it. Actually, let's remove the beginning part of it since we'll likely want to decode it, and we don't need this part. And then we'll save that. And then let's go back and look at our gofuzz real quick. It's just found the same stuff that we already found. Since this seems to let us enter in the name of a file, which it then displays, we could see if we can do some directory traversal by doing something like etc passwd. And we might have lost our connectivity again. I think we did. So gofuzz is running again. Okay, so we are able to do directory traversal to read the password file. So if we take a look at that, let's drop it into Sublime Text for now. We'll work with that in just a second. Let's see if we can, well, let's actually go to this first. So we make this a little more readable, do a find. Oh, it looks like I actually already have the regular expression in there. So the regular expression is looking for any characters or numbers, or sorry, any letters or numbers, and then a colon, and then an asterisk. And so that finds what are the beginning of the lines in the password file. So if we just do a find all, press the left arrow over, hit enter. Now this is in a little bit more readable format. We can save it. We'll save it into into our working directory, so poison, and we'll save it as passwd. And so we can see if we look at this real quick, all the standard users, the only one that I notice it's out of the ordinary is, let's see, root tor is this Charix at the bottom. So if we take Charix, see if we can happen to just get the user flag from right through here, home/charix/user.txt. We're timing out again. I'm actually going to switch to a different config I have. Okay, and so now we're reconnected, and we're using a backup connection that I have, which doesn't go to a VIP box, so hopefully it's not as much of a pain. Sometimes when I'm on these free ones, there's a bunch more people on the server, but we'll make do. So we aren't able to pull Charix's user.txt file through here. So then if we go back and let's take a look at that password backup file that we found. So let's use Sublime Text again, I suppose. Create a new tab. We'll switch the type here to Python so that we get some syntax highlighting. So since I said it's encoded at least 13 times, and we notice that it's base64 encoding, we can do import base64, and then pwd file is equal to open pwd backup.txt .read, and then decode is equal to base64.b64 decode and pwd file. And then we can set a loop counter. This is just so that we can print out something that you can see. It's not really needed, but while true, try. And what we're going to do here is we're just going to keep decoding it until we throw an exception, because if you try and decode unencoded text, this will throw an exception. Otherwise, it will decode, so this should work for looping as many times as we need. So do +=1, print. We'll just do this so we can see how many times we had to go through. Print the decoded version, and then set decode equal to another run of it, base64.b64 decode. And decode, and accept, print done, and then break. And so if we save that, we can save it as decode.py. So if we minimize this, and we go back to our terminal, kill out of this for now since it locked up anyway, do a decode python decode.py, and we see that it ran through our loop over and over and over and over again until it got to the 13th time, at which point it kicked out of that the try loop and left us with a password that looks like it's Charix and some characters. So if we copy that, and we'll just paste that in our password file for now, just so we have it somewhere in case we need to reference it later. And so remember, when we ran this box originally, we saw port 80 open and port 22 open. So it's pretty reasonable to assume we may be able to SSH as Charix at 10.10.10.84. We'll accept the key. And then once it prompts us, we will paste in that password. And it looks like we have access to the system now. So if we do a ls, looks like there's 3 files in here. There's a file called secret that's empty, a file called secret.zip, and a user text. Now that secret file that's size 0 shouldn't actually be there, but somebody probably tried to extract secret on here, which is fine for this. Let's see, if we cat user.text to cat-c, we can see that we can read the user.text file. So we've got the user flag at this point. And if we tried to unzip secret.zip, until we want to replace it, passphrase required for this entry. And so we can't extract it because it's got a password on it, and I don't know if this version of zip is older, because normally it prompts you for a password. So what we can do instead is we can just pull this to our local machine by running a Python web server if we have it. Let's see, Python, or sorry, not Python, SimpleHTTPServer, and we'll run that on port 8080. These free servers sometimes can be painfully slow. While we're waiting on that to set up, we can do a wget http://101084/secret.zip. It looks like this hasn't actually started running yet. So now it's serving. So now if we try it again. Oh, sorry. 8080. So now we've got the secret.zip pulled over here. Let's go ahead and kill this web server in case somebody else is enumerating the box. We don't want to give them any false positives or a way to get this file. And so if we do unzip secret.zip, it prompts for a password. We could try password. Incorrect. We can try Charix's password, see if he actually reuses his passwords, which a lot of people do. And it looks like that worked, so it extracted secret. So now we've got a file called secret. If we do file secret, see what type of a file it is, it looks like it's a non-ISO extended ASCII text. In other words, it's just a blob of data. It doesn't follow any known format. So if we do wc-c secret, looks like it's 8 bytes long. And if we did an let's cat it first, cat secret. So it's just some gibberish, xxd-p secret. And so we can see the bytecodes. And so it looks like this is probably a, well, we won't go there yet, but it's anytime you see an 8-byte just kind of blob and it's in some form like secret or password or something else, there's only one type of password-based file that I know of that's 8 bytes long, but we'll get there in a second. So let's go back to our system over here and let's pull linenum down and run that. So if we cd to /temp/ let's make a directory here, mkdir.work, and then we'll cd into .work, and let's pull linenum down. So we switch to our Dropbox tools scripts and run a Python web server. SimpleHTTPServer, and we'll run that on port 80. And so we do wget http://10. Actually, I don't know what my IP address is with this configuration, so let's look at that real quick. 10.10.14.169. 10.10.14.169 /linenum.sh. And then if we chmod it and make it executable, and then we can run it. Not sure why it's not finding it. Chmod. Not the right one to do, but that's okay. Okay, so we can read it. Let's cat it to bash, I guess. Cat and enum.sh. $0. So I actually don't know if this is going to work on here, which bash. So instead, I suppose we can poke around manually. So if we do a ps-aux, these free servers. Things get so slow sometimes, but so we've got a ton of SSHs open. Looks like we've got a lot of people on this box potentially. It seems to be hung up. Looks like the reason for that may be that somebody issued a reset on the server we were on. So, yeah, broken pipe. All right, and so I'm back. I just regenerated my connection pack. I don't know what the issue was, but we'll see if it's a little more stable now. So, if we reconnect to our SSH session. So we just paste the password. This box, I think, in general is just kind of slow. On the free servers, it's unbearable. On the paid servers, it's slightly better, maybe. And so we're finally in. So we do a ps-aux again. And this time we actually get the complete output. So you notice there's a lot less SSH sessions on this system as well. So we've got us here probably. Got a VNC session, which is interesting. And that's about all I see there. So if we do a, let's see if we look for listening sockets maybe. So we do sock, not sure. Looks like we're having issues with input again. Sock, stat, L. See which ports are listening. By the way, if you notice some discontinuity between the video frames here, it's because I have to keep pausing and fixing the connection. So if we take a look, we see a bunch of HTTPD, SSHD, and a couple VNCs. And these are kind of interesting because they're running as root and they're listening on port 5901 and 5801. 5901, I think, is the one that we want to connect to. But if you notice, it's only listening on localhost port 5901. So what we can do here is we can start a, we can do a forwarder and make it so that we can hopefully connect from our local machine to this. So if on this other tab, let's go out of that, switch back to our working directory, not that it really matters. And if we do an SSH dash, I think it's FNL, and then 5901 on localhost to 5901, and then Charix at 10.10.10.84. I think we still have his password in our clipboard, but just in case. So we paste that in. So that returned, so we should be able to now do a, let's see, VNC viewer, and then localhost 5901. Wants a password. We can try pasting Charix's password again. Authentication failed. So if we do VNC viewer -H, via gateway, shared, not shared, view only, full screen, no raise on beep, password file. So that could be interesting because we've got that secret file. So if we do same thing but with passwd secret, and it looks like we got a VNC session here. You can see on the desktop there's actually a terminal window open. It looks like we're root at Poison, which we can confirm by doing an ID. And so we are root in the group wheel. And so then if we just do a ls, we see our root.txt, cat root.txt to cut-c 1 to 16. And you can see that we can access the root flag. And so that's all there was to this box. But let's take a quick look back at this VNC password stuff just to show people kind of how that works. So if we close out of this, And let's do a VNC password, which is a tool to create those VNC password files that secret is. And if we do a -t, that'll create a temporary one in the temp/root VNC password. And so we give it the password 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We'll give it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now notice it says it's truncated to a length of 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And that has to do with the fact that they're only using a single block of des, which is 64 bits, so 8 bytes. And I don't think it's able to do anything any longer than that. We don't want to create a view-only password. So if we do a xxd-p temp root VNC password, we can see that, like the other one, it's just 8 bytes of random data. If we tried to cat it, it's probably just going to come out as junk. I don't think I've ever seen one of these actually come out as anything other than junk. And so what we can do here is we can actually decrypt it. And the reason we can decrypt it is because this isn't really encrypted. I mean, it is using des, but the key is a fixed key that all VNC servers use to store the password in. So the key is publicly known. Because the key is publicly known, anybody can decrypt it. So if we just do a search for, I think it's d3des.py, there's a bunch of des libraries we could use. Oh, sorry. Code. This is a Python library that basically the guy took the implementation of des from one of the VNC servers and they implemented it in Python. The things of interest here are this VNC key, and this is basically the des key, which is 8 bits, that's used to encrypt the password. He wrapped that stuff up, gave it a decrypt password function. And so if we just take the raw version of this, and we'll copy it, oops, and we can vim d3des.py, and we can insert it. And then we can make sure it works by doing python d3des.py, and it should say test succeeded, because if you notice at the bottom here, it's got, in its main, it's got some asserts, and it does a test basically to just make sure that it can decode, or that it can take plain text, or encrypt it, decrypt it, make sure that it's the same thing. So we should be able to work with this by hand if we just do python import, let's see, import d3des as d, vnc is equal to open, and we'll open our temporary one since we know what that's supposed to be, root vnc passwd. We'll open it in binary mode, we'll read. And so if we just see what it is, it's our string of bytes. And then if we do d.decrypt passwd vnc, and we see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Notice the 9's missing because it chops anything over 9 off. I think it allows up to 6, and if you do 6 only, then it pads with zeros. So we would have seen 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 2 null bytes. So let's see if we can decrypt the password that we found, the secret. So we do open secret, read binary. And we do a decrypt on it. Looks like the password was VNC, all uppercase, P at $$ splat. And so we could have used that to authenticate as well. In fact, here I will attempt to prove it if my connection is still up. We'll copy that. We'll quit out of this. And we will run VNC viewer without passing the password file to it. And so it asks for our password. We will paste one in there, and there we go. Same thing. So we could have done it either way. I just wanted to show this way so that you could see how it can be done if you were to want to decrypt the password, especially on a real system where you may try and reuse that password in other places. So that's all there is to this box. Remember, when you're done with boxes, clean them up, reset them if nobody else is on, whatever, something so that you don't leave stuff behind. And I will see you on the next video. Feel free to subscribe to the channel or like the video if you liked it. Leave some comments. Follow me on Twitter or visit my blog, whatever you want to do. None of it doesn't matter. And I will see you on the next video, which will probably be next week. And have a good weekend.